The squared circle isn't the only place where wrestlers let their emotions fly. Here are the 10 biggest WWE backstage meltdowns. The Razor's Edge. Razor Ramon and the 1-2-3 Kid feuded quite a bit back in the 90s, and maybe it was the 14-year age gap, but it always seemed like Ramon was especially incensed when his younger former protege won, even if they weren't facing each other. For instance, when the Kid was the last man standing in his Survivor Series 1995 match, Ramon was so infuriated that he took to trashing the backstage locker room, throwing a table and a TV, and causing so much damage that he had to be restrained by Savio Vega and a couple of other wrestlers. Thankfully, we got to see it all. Going for the gold. This list isn't meant to highlight brawls that took place in the backstage area, instead focusing on something with a bit of property damage. Thankfully, this incident had both. Although primarily a scuffle involving Razor Ramon attacking Goldust in the middle of an interview on the January 15, 1996 episode of Raw, the following items were battle casualties: a large shipping crate, a full-size ladder, a wooden table, and at least one trash can. And this doesn't even include the outdoor portion of the segment, which included damage to yet another garbage receptacle, as well as Goldust's car. All that glitters is not Goldust. Although most people probably remember Brian Pillman's WWE days for his feud with Stone Cold Steve Austin, Pillman's final rival was actually Goldust back in 1997. At the time, Goldust's valet was his real-life wife, Terry Runnels, who debuted in the WWE with the name Marlena. Her services were put on the line during a match at Ground Zero in your house, and a defeated Goldust was forced to give her up for 30 days. Upon losing, he went ballistic backstage, smashing cars and kicking doors in agony. Sadly, Brian Pillman passed away only a few weeks later. Gimme what I want. The 7-foot-tall, 395-pound Big Show calls his knockout punch the weapon of mass destruction, and it's hard to disagree with that name. After a concussion knocked Randy Orton out of the SmackDown Elimination Chamber 2012, a kayfabe suspended Mark Henry asked then GM Theodore Long to allow him to compete instead. At the same time, Big Show also entered the office to request a run at the title, but Henry cut him off. Show dropped Henry with a WMD, but was nevertheless denied his shot and responded by going on a rampage in the GM's office, punching a TV and flipping over furniture. I'm a professional. After failing to nab the World Heavyweight Championship title from Chris Benoit 2004's Bad Blood, Kane was informed by then Raw GM Eric Bischoff that a new #1 contender had to be named, and that he was sure Kane, a professional, would understand. Kane replied that he is, in fact, a professional, before proceeding to completely destroy the GM's office. The best part of this scene had to be when Bischoff ducked out of the way of a flying chair, only to have it smash into a framed portrait of himself that hung just behind where he was standing. Brock's beef. John Cena defeated Brock Lesnar in the main event at Extreme Rules on April 29, 2012, and Lesnar responded by totally trashing the locker room. According to some sources, Brock was legitimately upset because he only agreed to put Cena over after being told his opponent would still be beaten and bloodied so badly that he'd have to be kayfabe stretchered out of the ring. But instead, Cena not only exited under his own power, but made a departing speech. For our money, we think Lesnar's tantrum was all part of the act, since celebrities know that nowadays they can't even raise their voice without it making the news. Summertime. After blowing his chance at beating Xavier Woods on the January 10, 2014 episode of SmackDown, Fandango was pretty broken up about it. However, it was nothing compared to the total meltdown of his girl Summer Rae when she was blamed for the loss. As shown in a Backstage Fallout clip, she threw herself on the floor outside of his dressing room door and wailed incessantly, even taking physical swipes at Tom Phillips when he attempted to interview her. Riding high. Zack Ryder won the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 32 on April 3, 2016, and his reign lasted all of one day. On the very next Raw, Ryder was convinced to defend his title against The Miz, but lost the match after getting distracted. Ryder lost to The Miz again on SmackDown 3 days later, and the Backstage Fallout featured him flipping a table, knocking over boxes and metal poles, and tossing an entire case of water bottles across the room. Although he was clearly furious, Ryder reminded himself that no one could take away his WrestleMania win, and promised we haven't seen the last of him. Annihilated. After Naya Jax bested Ann Esposito on the September 5, 2016 episode of Raw, she gloated about the victory backstage to Ann's friend Alicia Fox. Fox then exploded, telling Naya to get out of her face while throwing first aid supplies into the air. Hilariously, Fox accidentally hit Naya square in the face with a cardboard box, paused in concern, and momentarily appeared as if she were about to break kayfabe and apologize. However, she snapped out of it and Jax pushed her into a wall, beginning a feud between the two. The Bulgarian blows up. After defending the United States Championship numerous times over the course of 126 days, Rusev finally dropped it to Roman Reigns at Clash of the Champions on September 25, 2016. As expected, the big Bulgarian was none too pleased with the outcome, and the Backstage Fallout cameras caught him hurling numerous metal chairs that sent various WWE employees scurrying for cover. Chairs can be useful allies or dangerous enemies of wrestlers depending on the exact situation, but in this instance, they were just innocent bystanders. Did we miss your favorite Backstage Meltdown? Let us know in the comments below. Also be sure to like and share this video and follow TheSportster's YouTube channel for more.